Hey everybody, welcome to Pale in Comparison, a proud member of the Doof Network. In this podcast, my sister uses her knowledge of the Otherverse to take a look at Pact, Wildbow's least chill work, and I try to not give away any spoilers. I'm Jenny, and Malia convinced me to read Worm.
I'm Malia, and Jenny convinced me to read everything else. This episode, we are covering Sine Die, chapters 14.9 and 14.10. Before we get into that, however, I'd like to issue a spoiler warning. This podcast is filled with pale spoilers. If you don't know why Cameron stole $50 from 3 dead teenagers and don't want us to tell you, stop now, read Pale, and come back to this podcast. As for Pact, there will be full spoilers of the chapters we are covering.
Yeah, I feel like it makes more sense now. Because I was like, just hearing about that at first, I was like, that's a real dick move. But now I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It still wasn't necessarily like the right thing to do, but also she needed some agency. She needed something.
Yeah, I mean,
I want
yeah.
her to be okay.
I know, I feel bad. Anyway, hopefully that was cryptic enough for everyone who doesn't have a clue what we're talking about to go leave and read.
23B.
Woo! All right, let's dive into the summary for this episode. Blake and Rose divide up tasks. Rose goes back to Hillsglade House while Blake tries to deal with Mara. Mara taunts Blake with her mastery of procrastination, but then she sees her home up in flames. Blake and the others race back to the house to try and stop a terrible deal. Johannes has convinced Jeremy that the Abyss is a fine place to put a home and is trying to get Rose to agree. Blake starts to put Grandma Rose's scheme together and realizes who the real villain is. Faisal arrives and casts them into the Abyss with a demon on the loose. What do you think of these chapters, Malia?
Basically, I read this and I was like trying to remember all the dumb shit I've said about Faisal. I was like, oh fuck, what are all the horrible, stupid things I've said about
this is the really sad part about not keeping our prediction tracker up to date, you know?
Well, I'm not too far behind. I just like I don't remember saying like really dumb predictions, but I do remember saying like Blake should totally take this deal with Faisal, like fuck everyone else. Which is funny.
That's funny.
And it was still based on relevant information at the time, but yeah.
You know what? It's all right.
Yeah.
You knew what you knew, and you know what you know.
I know. It was funny too rereading these, where there's this one part where Wildbow's like, Faisal, it's the angel, and I didn't at all get it. So that's fun.
That's pretty fun.
But at least I was like pretty sure that it wasn't you on his last chapter.
All right. Well, Blake and Rose divide up tasks. Rose goes back to Hillsglade House while Blake tries to deal with Mara.
Yeah, so Mara wants to harass Blake, I guess. And she's like, "Don't go, monster." Meh. Cuz Blake's like, "If we got to get there fast, I'm fast. Like I can fly, like I can go." And they're like, "Maybe we shouldn't put the Abyss connected dude on the side of the scale that the Abyss is at." Or whatever. And they're just so good. They're like trying really hard. And so Blake's kind of like, okay, like, you know, because Rose is like, you know, okay, either I should go or we should both go. Like, she's not like, no, Blake, I'm going. You know, like, she's like, at least I should go because that is a good point about the whole Abyss thing. And Blake's like, no, okay, I will stay here with this witch and you go figure it out. And there's just funny moments where like Blake's internal like he's not like super cool with Rose. Like Tiff is like, you know, they're deciding what's happening, and Tiff's like, oh, what should I do? And Rose is like, come. And Blake's like, as though she was talking to a dog. And I'm like, Blake,
foreshadowing. No.
Stupid. Yeah, this was the moment. No, it's like I don't know, it almost feels more like Christ-like. Like Jesus is like, come. Like Jesus is, you know, like is like
I mean,
saying what should I do? Come. That's not like
I mean, to be fair, like you can't hear her tone. I mean, like the way, I mean, we've definitely heard people tell dogs to like, hey, come, get over here, you know, like, and I'm pretty sure Jesus did not speak the same way.
Come. Yeah. I mean, and this does parallel the last line of the next chapter where Johannes says like he said stay or whatever.
Malia, you can't compare Rose the Diabolist to Jesus.
Yes, they
Okay.
can.
I mean, I guess you
They're
can,
trying
but
to do the right thing.
you're supposed to be the better Catholic.
Rose is a good person. She's trying really hard. I love Rose.
Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't like Rose. I'm just saying you shouldn't compare her to fucking Jesus.
I'm just saying that like the word come doesn't mean that you're dehumanizing people.
Yes, but when it comes out of Rose's mouth, there's a good chance.
I don't think that's necessarily true. Blake really Blake is really
Yes.
I'm just saying that Blake is predisposed to not like or trust Rose. And so
Mhm.
I think that he's interpreting this with that slanted bias, and it's showing that it's still hard for them. Like there's still this thing here.
Malia. Okay, even if she has the best intentions in the whole wide world, even if Blake is totally biased towards her, she also has like negative like a billion karma. And so no matter what her intentions are, it's probably not going to come across as Jesus. That's just my
Sure,
opinion.
but that's even more of a reason why Blake should cut her some slack. I mean, I don't know if Rose is actually like the ultimate bad in the story and that's why you hate her, but I think she's fine.
All right.
But yeah, it's nice they're like they
I
split
mean,
up or
I feel
whatever.
like just if you were, I don't know, maybe I've just misremembering everything, and maybe she's actually really like sweet and empathetic and just really nice to everyone all the time. But I just don't remember that. I don't remember that on my read through. And that's cool though, Malia. Everyone, we interpret things differently, and you might. I mean, if you want to compare Rose
It's
to Jesus, I'm still gonna.
it's
I'm
not
still gonna.
either you're Jesus or you're dehumanizing people though. I'm saying she's like probably
Mm,
not dehumanizing Tiff in this instance. Because
I'm.
there are ways
But
to
I'm
say the word
saying she
come
probably
that
sounds
don't
like she
have to
is.
do with the dog.
But I'm saying she probably sounds like she is because for one, she does tend to talk like that, and for another thing, like she has like negative 5 trillion karma, and so she's gonna come across like that to probably everybody because that's just how it is.
I don't know. I
Whereas
think
Jesus has
Blake
like positive infinity karma, and so like
kind of that's interesting.
I mean, it doesn't really work like that, I guess, but like, I mean, if Jesus were to
I
have
don't think
karma,
Jesus' karma is that great.
what the fuck is wrong with you?
Like now, I think it's great, but I think that like he was treated like shit a lot, and
That doesn't mean that
they
he had
killed
shitty
him.
karma.
Well, Bo, what was Jesus'
Holy shit balls. No, we're not asking Wildbow about Jesus.
karma? Okay.
Leave that man out of this. He doesn't want to go into that discussion. He does not want to talk about any of that. And good lord. Sorry, Jesus.
He just feels
Malia, you can't say that Jesus has bad karma. My god.
it's not because of the things he did though, and I guess he did play into his role
Yeah.
perfectly, but he didn't play into society's role perfectly, and karma isn't about actually good and bad. Karma's about society. And so no, I don't think Jesus's karma was like that great. I don't think it was like Rose.
You really just want to compare Rose to Jesus.
Apparently.
You really want to compare the Diabolus demon like and it's not her fault because it's her family, but you want to compare Rose
She'll
the
probably
Diabolus
die like
to fucking
saving Blake
Jesus.
or whatever, like sacrificially.
You're really trying to like yeah, maybe she'll even like be
Be
nailed to some
crucified.
wood.
Yeah. Hey, Blake's made of wood. That'd be a fucked up way to die.
What the fuck, Malia?
I don't know.
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with us? Holy shit. This is such a sacrilegious discussion. We haven't even started. I don't even know what to fucking say.
Okay.
I'm sorry, God. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah. I just don't think that like
I just want to
sinning
put
necessarily gives you karma.
I just want to put
Bad
out
karma.
there like I still think Jesus has positive infinity karma. Okay.
Okay.
I don't care what what canon is. I don't think there should be a canon like thing for Jesus' karma because I feel like that's just asking for trouble. Okay.
Right. No, Wildland, I'm sorry to call you out. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have
Don't
done
fucking
that.
do that shit. He doesn't want that.
I think it's more just like I'm curious. I wanted it to inform my interpretation of what karma is, but no, you don't. No one needs to go there.
We don't need to go there. You know? Can say some rosaries or like, do some meditation, do whatever you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe Jesus will answer that for you, Malia. Maybe he will tell you the exact karma number.
You'll be like, this is the karma system.
Yes. I feel like, at least from our belief, Jesus and God created any kind of system we have, at least in our belief. So I feel like he probably has all the karma. That's where I'm coming from. But it depends. If you're coming from like the other verse thing, or like it's just another God, but not the God, then you're probably right.
Well, that's interesting. So I guess like if God made the practice and stuff, but I feel like the practice is a reflection of very like earthly and secular, like not secular, but very earthly systems and processes. And I think that Jesus like isn't down with all that necessarily.
Which
Because
is why
I mean,
it probably doesn't exist in real life.
right, but like we see in these chapters, like an angel pairs up with a demon and sends a bunch of people to like hell.
Mhm.
And
Lucifer is
maybe
an
ultimately
angel too,
it's
though. So,
what?
okay. I said Lucifer is the angel of light, right? So it fits.
Yeah, but I think that Faisal's not betraying what an angel is in the other verse. Like karma isn't about good and bad, and angels aren't good. They're just not demons.
No, I mean, sure. But like you said, Jesus. Okay. Jesus.
I just think people treated him like shit for no reason a lot, and I feel
Yeah,
like
but that's
that's a
not
sign
his
of bad
fault.
karma.
I mean, I
I
guess it is in
know.
terms of that was his role, but like,
Yeah.
you
Well, no,
can't.
that's not his fault, but like I think he bucked the system in a way that maybe the system didn't like.
I feel like we need to just delete
Oh
this
my
whole
god, wait, wait,
conversation.
wait.
Oh my gosh.
When was the seal? Because what if
Holy
Jesus
shit.
This is gonna be so horrible. I'm really sorry, God, I'm really sorry. What if Jesus was a practitioner
Oh my
and he
god.
like pierced the veil of
Malia.
innocence with his miracles
Okay.
and that gave him bad karma? I'm really sorry, I'm really sorry, I'm really sorry. Okay, we're moving on. Okay.
This is so sacrilegious. This is so fucking sacrilegious. We're being terrible Catholics. I don't know what to say.
Just okay. So
Are we gonna scrub this? Or are we just gonna leave our like our heathenness for the world to see?
no, people should know.
To
I
know
don't
that
know.
we're heathens.
I mean, you're fine.
That's right. That's right. I said Jesus
You've
has
been fine.
positive infinity karma. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Malia. Oh Lord. Yeah, let's okay. I don't want to I mean, except I keep saying God's name in vain because I'm just so like appalled by this conversation. Okay. I don't want to hear any canon talk about this shit. I don't want to know. Okay? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It is what it is. People can talk about what they want to talk about. But
I was gonna say there's actually a possible distinction as to whether the word of God is canon, because like
this is so great.
while the saying
This is so
stuff
great.
is referred to as like word of God.
Oh my gosh. What the fuck?
And now I'm just thinking about a whole bunch of stuff
yeah.
in terms of like the Bible being the canon and then like the word of God
We
being
have
what
to
the
just
Bible is.
erase
But the word of
everything.
God is like more important than the Bible. Wow.
Yeah. But like the Bible's like the Bible's like if you put like if God spoke into Google Translate and like but like more like earlier Google Translate.
And like what
when it was more
other
shitty.
people remembering what God had said and then telling
Yeah. And then like putting that through Google Translate a few more times.
Yeah.
And then we get the Bible.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I think it is.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the closest we can get right now, but it's flawed.
Yeah. But it's just interesting in fiction how the canon, the stuff written in the book, is like more authoritative than the stuff the author says about stuff outside of the book.
How did we get here? How did we get here?
Tiffany. Okay, so Tiffany goes, and then
oh my
Ellie
gosh,
starts complaining. Ellie's like, "I'm tired," and I feel this. Except, shut up, because What the fuck? You, like, what? Shut up. And like, I would feel tired, but I think complaining when you are like a dumb human, this is not the time. I think it's interesting. Like, we see a lot in this chapter how Ellie and Peter are really paralleled, where Peter also complains like this, and Peter had just recently been like, "I'm useless. Why am I here? I was supposed to protect people by being present, and I can't." uh, and I thought that was funny how this is kind of repeated here.
Mm-hmm.
And here we
Look,
get to see that even the Thorburns love each other.
that's so sweet. I'm gonna start listening in a second, but like I just keep going over that fucking conversation and just like, holy shit, we're gonna like fucking put this out in the world. What's wrong with us?
I mean,
Yeah,
as like
fuck.
as a like bisexual woman who believes that the church should happily marry queer couples and like that transgender people are valid in the eyes of God, I think a lot of people already think that I'm not really Catholic, so it's
Okay, that's that's a bunch of bullshit. That's
like
a bunch of bullshit.
I wasn't gonna get to be a saint or whatever recognized on this earth anyway, so
So you can compare fucking Rose to Jesus.
it
Feel like
was-
it's okay.
making comparisons is cool and interesting. We should reread this and be like, God in comparison.
Fuck. No. No. Good lord.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Look. Okay. I can't I don't even know. I don't even know, Malia. I can't eat. Look, I'm drinking this really terrible, energy drink right now to try to stay awake anyway,
Mhm.
which is kind of kicking in, but also like I can't wrap my brain around it.
That's fair.
Look, being bisexual and saying that God loves all people, all LGBTQ plus, people, that transgender people are valid, all that stuff is like I 100% agree with. I think that's fine, but that does not give you that does not give you an excuse to compare fucking Diabolist to Jesus.
Um,
And that's, you can, but like I'm saying
I just mean that, like, in terms
this
of
feels
putting it out
wrong.
there into the world, like the damage to my reputation as a Catholic has been done.
Malia, I feel like I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
unless you've been getting like hate mail from different dioceses across the country. Speaking of Malia, I know that you're bisexual and a Catholic, and I disapprove. I don't know. Which I hope you have not gotten hate mail, because that is even worse than like.
I mean, I haven't, but then I remember that, like, none of my. It's fine. We don't have to go there. We can just.
I think most of the family is pretty like supportive. There's like a couple people that still love you, but just are, I don't know, don't get it, I guess. I don't know. At least from how I
Yeah.
see it. But
They're like worried about me or something. I don't know.
yeah. Well, Jesus loves you, even though you made that fucking terrible comparison.
So sorry.
That is so much worse than you being bisexual. And it's not
Yeah,
that
that's
bad.
probably true.
But it's totally true. I'm maybe over exaggerating it a bit, but I don't know. The amount of editing you're gonna have to do, I'm just like not jealous of, Which I feel like that
Everyone
a
knows I
lot.
don't edit. It's fine.
Fuck. See, this is why like I don't listen to any of our podcast episodes, because like I just can believe that if I ask you like, oh, it's okay, Malia, you can just edit this out. I can just like believe, like how children
I
believe in
do
Santa
a lot
Claus,
of the time.
or how people are like the tooth fairy. So I believe that
You should listen to our podcast.
edit.
We're really funny, and
I don't want to listen to my own voice.
it's fine.
It just feels cringe to me,
No, it's fine.
And then I'm like, your voice doesn't sound the same in a recording as it does in person, and it
Yeah.
just feels weird. If I had to do the actual editing, that I would do it. But since you do all the actual fucking work, I don't have to worry about listening to it. But apparently you don't do work. Apparently you don't. You just like release it as is.
Nobody but me knows how much I edit out. I do edit some stuff out.
Hey, I'm just going by what you said. You just said you don't edit. Now you said you do edit.
It was a joke.
I don't know, Malia, because I don't listen to the podcast.
Right. Okay, so here's another thing that reminds me of the Bible. Except it doesn't really. But so it finally clicks, right? Where I don't know if Mara explicitly. I mean, no, she explicitly says this.
Sorry, I just like it. That's extra funny because I thought it was just gonna be some random tangent about the Bible, and then you're like, no, I'm bringing this back to the fucking book.
We're professionals.
Barely.
Well, so I guess the thing that this reminds me of is the Jesus's 2 commandments, the first of which is you shall love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have in my notes, Blake is the heart and Rose is the head. And so that reminded me of that because we're talking about the Bible. But it was just kind of refreshing to have this like explicitly laid out, like this is them. Like this is the whole thing. And it's just like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, yeah. And it's cool and fun because like, you know, Blake is Ambrose's heart, but like the abyss has fucked that up. And Rose is Ambrose's head, but like Conquest is living inside of it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they each have to use the part they don't really have to fix this problem because their main thing is fucked with, right?
Yeah.
Like we've talked about a lot about, you know, like Rose likes to think things through and Blake goes off of his instincts. And this is where we really start to understand that like Blake's instincts are awesome because he is the heart, he is the passion, he is the emotion, he is the instincts, but sometimes that's a trap. And same with Rose, right? Like Rose is super smart and, you know, like really creative, really like capable, but sometimes her trying to reason things out is gonna fuck her up. And it's nice how satisfyingly Wildbow lays this out because I would not have gotten it. And it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like now it's like, oh duh, like I don't know how I could ever talk about this book again without just being like, yeah, this is them. It's also, how does Mara know? I guess people know about the demon in Grandma Rose's attic somehow, and they know what it does. Because like, how does everyone seem to know like what Blake and Rose are?
I mean, I don't know if everyone does, but Mara's just like been there forever, right? So
right, she's seen this all before. She's seen people come out before.
Yeah. I mean, even though she just stays in the fucking forest, you know, she's heard some shit. She's seen some shit.
Yeah,
She's gone
I
to
guess
some meetings.
Potentially like certain people's sight or that sort of thing could be powerful enough
Mm-hmm.
to be able to tell and infer or something. And it is useful here to have someone kind of be able to tell us some stuff, but like I don't know if any of the and the Kenneteers aren't Mara, right? But I don't know if any of the Kenneteers could like look at them and be like,
second terrible comparison. I mean, I know you said that they're not, but like, of course they're fucking not. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, just that you like, I don't know what it takes to be able to just sort of know this shit. And it seems like Mara has known this whole time.
Yeah. Some practice shit, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, man. Next section. Okay. Mara taunts Blake with her mastery of procrastination, but then she sees her home up in flames and is pretty PO'd.
She's
to say the least.
These chapters were just so satisfying in so many ways because it's like we're talking about Grandma Rose, we're thinking about the stuff. We get confirmation here that Grandma Rose is like trying to do the right thing. It's just so great. Because Mara's like, you know, why would your grandma do this? Like, why would she go against everything she stands for and like actually work with a demon? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, check. Like, she's not pro demon. Cool. And like really just trying to dig into this woman and her decision and her plan. And it's a really fun thing that runs through these two chapters where we think we figured out what her ultimate goal was. Yeah. And then Mara talks about what she thinks the practice is. I don't remember if it's Tiffany or Ainsley who says what the fundamental rule of the no, Tiffany's not there, so I think it was Ainsley says like the fundamental rule of the practice is that everything has a price.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's is a really important part of the Otherverse and something that it takes a while to really get in Pale for me. Because Pact, right, like immediately Blake and Rose like don't have any power and are struggling to figure out how to get it. But in Pale, they can like write shit down on their hat and throw things around, and you're not really understanding like what that all means. And I'm not. I mean, everything has a price is true. But I'm trying to decide if that is what the Kenneteers would necessarily think of. As the like fundamental core of the practice. Because I think they're trying to upend things, but maybe not necessarily that part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they talk about, Mara talks about the ways that people deal with power in the Otherverse and what they do to try to be able to have enough to spend. The Behames save it up. The Duchamps whore themselves out. The Thorburns commit crimes. Goblins beat people up. And Fairy are like, this is actually bullshit, but also, is it? It's like Fairy are like, money's not real, right? But then like, I don't know, run the stock market or something. Like they go crazy. And Mara's like, I put 5 cents into a mutual fund in 1704 and now I have a bajillion dollars. Or something like that. And then she takes a moment to be like, I'm actually like my value and worth is way more than all of the fucking people that I've like murdered to inhabit their bodies because I know a lot because I've been around for a long time. So you're actually a bad person. Also, stability is great. And I guess this book is making a case for why stability is good in terms of not being sucked down into the abyss, but also fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake says, what value is it if it's never spent? And it kind of reminds me of super, super, super rich people who have like more money than they could ever do anything with.
Mhm.
Like, what?
I feel like I remember reading like one of the people that just like you don't even know that they're super rich until after they die because they're just so like frugal. I feel like I remember reading an article once about a guy that like super super frugal, even drank like spoiled milk because he didn't want to like spend money he didn't want to waste it, and he was like a multi-millionaire
Wow.
when he died. It's like, man, just spend some money, buy some fresh milk, man.
Right,
Buy a
live.
cow, and he just we're good. You can just go milk your cow, have fresh milk. Just yeah, like man. Then you only take as much as you need. Just milk as much as you need. And then you don't have to have spoiled milk. Anyway.
That'd be
Probably
funny
doesn't
to
work
like
like that, but-
go out every morning with your coffee cup and just like squirt a little in there.
I mean, I bet some people do that.
Yeah.
Because why not? I mean, maybe like hygiene reasons.
You might spill your coffee.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It might be cold outside. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the reasons.
Yeah. And then Mara is like, kind of asking another question like, what do you want? Like, what do all these people want in this scenario? Again, trying to be at like, what is Grandma Rose doing? And so Blake wants peace and freedom and to change the system. Rose wants security, solutions. She wants answers to her questions. And what does Grandma Rose want? And Blake's like, I don't know, legacy. And I think that I would have answered something similar based on like Grandma Rose's fear of being forgotten. That she expresses in her diary. Like she really hates that idea and it's really scary. But she's working toward a world wherein she's likely ultimately forgotten. And it's really cool that she's able to do this in spite of that, like, I don't know, existential dread or something. And maybe she kind of got over it or whatever.
Mhm.
But it still seems laudable that she manages that or something. um and interesting that, yeah, Blake is just like very wrong at this moment, but this helps him put the pieces together later. um at one point they're talking about, like, what's happening at the house and the power of words, and Mara's like, so what, do you think there's some sort of like fucking epic Lord of the Rings like battle happening outside? And I'm like, yeah. And Evan's like, yeah. Like, let's fucking do it. And Ainsley realizes, like, no, it's not. It's like it's gonna be about words. I still think we're gonna get some sort of big fight or something. Like, if this was Pale, there would at one point be a big fight. Although, there would also be words. I don't know.
There would probably be more.
But it's interesting to think that, like, Johannes is like, well, things are fucked enough. I'm gonna go over and like hang out. And I mean, this is how wars work or whatever. Like, eventually the sides come together and a side surrenders or like whatever happens. But yeah. Um so Mara kind of breaks down, she's like, what do you want? What do these other people want? And now she says, okay, so, like, what does everyone get from this thing Johannes suggests, right?
Mhm.
Rose gets security, Rose gets answers. Johannes gets power. Jeremy gets his hot wife without her family. The other Thorburns get to not be here anymore and go home. The junior council gets to do their thing. Alistair gets to lead them into a new horizon. Grandmother might even get the thing that she wants. She notably doesn't mention Blake and says a victory for all involved, and the world shakes. Unfortunately, the world shaking is coming to an end. The lie detector is running out. And she's like, haha, fuck you, I'm not gonna explain. And Blake's like, haha, fuck you, we burned your house down. Um, and she realizes, without this tie to her, the home, the tie to her, the tie to all of this shit, uh, this area, and she presumably will also fall into the abyss with Jacob's Bell. And Blake is like, who loses? What is the plan? And Mara says these are the wrong questions, but also she'll answer them anyway. Number one, Blake loses, like, no matter what. Blake doesn't even get the semblance of a good time. And then with everyone else, it's like twisted. Everyone else will regret this. We figure out later it's because they probably all have enough ties to also get drawn into the abyss with the house. Because they're so connected to this town. But yeah.
All right, cool.
It's a lot, but
It's a lot, but
it's satisfying to know this now.
yes. So Blake and everybody else race back to the house to try to stop really, really crap deal.
So there's this moment here where Blake's flying, and before they get back to the town, he turns up to face the sun, like flying on his back basically, and he says it's like for one last time, and it's so awful. Blake feels really connected to nature and the outdoors, and that when we see him working in the farmer's field and stuff, he's really like at peace outside. And we just had that chapter about how much he's enjoying the sun on his face, and just like, yeah, I mean, presumably when this is done, like, Blake's gonna let Rose destroy him, and so this is probably, I guess, the last time he gets the sun on his face, and it's just so
It's pretty sad.
and then he like, leaps, like jumps down in the dark at all of them, and Peter's like, ah. And Peter's like, yeah, go, like, we're dead weight, like, we'll whatever catch up. And Ainsley's like, I'll use some power to catch up. And now I'm like, no. I hope she didn't.
No. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be bad.
we'll see, I guess. And Blake really is starting to lay it on thick, and I did not get it. And he's like, it's interesting because, like, Peter and Roxanne were basically enemies, and now they're sort of family and allies. And it's weird how much, like, things can change and relationships can change with people, and, like, different, like, circumstances can lead people to, like, different alliances. And, isn't it so weird that, like, the lines and the delineations in the boxes aren't actually that clear, and that classic enemies and allies exist. Weird. Okay, bye. Like, I was like, I
Pretty
guess,
weird.
Blake, whatever. Get to the fucking house. Ah! So kind of ever since listening to Deep Impact and Elliot was like, oh, Maggie's actually Podrick, right? I've like kind of stopped listening because I'm worried there's going to be another thing. And I just know, in like fucking arc 10 or some shit of Deep Impact, Elliot's like, oh, it's Face All, he's evil. And I resent that, even though he might not have figured it out. It's fine.
All right. So basically, Johannes has convinced Jeremy that the Abyss is a super awesome place to sink your home and your town into. It's trying to get Rose to agree.
Yeah, to be fair, Jeremy doesn't live there, so he can
So
just go back
he's
to
cool.
Toronto,
He's
I
like, yeah,
guess.
sink it. Sink that shit down.
Yeah, if I was Jeremy, I'd be like, yep, cool. Definitely. It seems like they're in the library. And Blake does learn a really critical piece of information here, so I'm going to say that that's a win for me for that one prediction that I made. Woo! Even though it's not him reading a diary. But yeah, so Rose is like, yeah, Johannes has explained this, and honestly, it really like checks a lot of boxes, like really would like make a lot of stuff like fall into place and work out. And Blake's like, maybe work out too well, like, Mara thinks this is a mistake. She wanted to taunt me. Like, she's also gonna be fucked because we burned her house down. Like, she, blah. And Johannes is like, no, like, Blake, this is great. Like, you did such a good job by, like, terrorizing all those people and, like, breaking down all these, like, whatever, and helping this place fall into the abyss. And, like, good job, man. Like, let's all chill out now. Like, my familiar can make you into a squishy human, and it's gonna be great.
Sweet. Sign me up, bro.
Yeah. And we're gonna do a controlled blast. I don't really know what to call this. A controlled sink, and a specific area is just gonna go bye-bye. And that's great. Like, we'll evacuate people. Barbatorum is gonna be the only one not evacuated. Faisal is gonna guide it to, like, right in front of a big, powerful abyssal god. And it's perfect. Yep, perfect. God, gods, right? Gods are like a big deal, so it's gonna be great. And then Blake is like, yeah, the gods are losing. I saw one, and its head was the size of a moon, and it like kind of couldn't even deal with Ur. Like, and apparently Ur's ain't shit compared to this guy. So what? And Blake's starting to use his brain a lot and really, really trying to think hard about this whole thing. And part of the whole, like, your instincts can betray you. Instincts often align with expectation. Expectation is a problem here, right? It's causing them to assume certain things about situations that aren't happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so Blake decides to say out loud that Faisal and Barbie are best friends for life. Lol. I mean, not really, because Faisal ultimately wants Barbatorum to be, like, bound better, but he's willing to sick him on a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
To maybe accomplish that. And this is a classic enemies to lovers trope, as we've seen throughout all of literature, throughout this book. It's really compelling. It's a classic. And then Johannes goes, "Okay, Pixar, this isn't happening." And Blake's like, "I mean, yeah, I don't have proof, but come on. They're like they're like on such a different level from us, y'all. Like, like you think gods are a big deal? Like, no. Like they're just acting on like a completely different scale. Remember how we've like seen in this book that there's a little girl and a like fucking bear and the bear has like controlled her mind and shit, and you're paired up with a fucking angel and you think that's fine? Like, are you high? Like, what's going on? Like, like angels can create things, and like demons can destroy things, and like the abyss doesn't even destroy things. The abyss just like mushes it all up into like shitty garbage. Like we're not even there. Um, this reminds me of. Do you remember, Jenny, that Dad used to get pissed off when people would use the word create?
You might have to when people use the word create.
I feel like he was like, "No, you're not creating that. You're like making that because like you can't create.
Mm,
Only God can create. Like creating is like making something out of nothing, I think. Like is what
mm.
Dad would say. Like God can create, but nothing else can. Um
For some reason, just don't remember. Maybe I just didn't get in that many discussions with them. Maybe I just don't use the word create that often.
I yeah, I feel like it was like some commercial or like something.
Probably.
Like I don't even remember. It wasn't like one of his big things that he ranted about a lot, but I just remember, yeah, this one time him being like, "Fuck everyone, how dare you."
He was
Um,
so funny about some things.
he's very adamant about
He
some
was,
stuff,
yeah, which is like it's not that important, man. But
but sometimes it is.
sometimes it is.
Um,
And then sometimes he'd be really just funny about it, like when he made the "Have a Happy" card.
God, that card's so good.
Used to be like, just hated when people said happy holidays instead of either Merry Christmas or like Happy Hanukkah, or like, I guess, trying to customize it to the person's actual like holiday they're celebrating, which is like, well, Dad, like, it's kind of hard to like go around and ask
No,
every single fucking
exactly.
person.
Yeah.
But so he was making Christmas cards with us one year, and he just made one that just said "Have a Happy," and then that covers everything.
It does. It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's pretty great. So it's a good card.
Yep. Um, but yeah. Um, once Blake's kind of laid out his realization about Faisal, he, his like he needs to use his brain, but Rose needs to use her heart, right? Like they both kind of need to work together. Like their powers combined can like hopefully deal with this situation. But they don't really trust each other, and they're also standing in front of a bunch of other people. Like he can't just like their communication is limited in this moment. Um and but Blake realizes that maybe the shattered hole that was the sixth Thorburn grandchild could figure out this situation. And like God, like their powers combined, like they're so fucking great. And Ambrose must have been incredible. And like I am so proud of them, and I want them to kick ass.
Mhm.
Like Ambrose must have been so fucking cool considering how well these two have done. um,
I know.
like I'm so
Like, it's a
mad.
shame that you had to split up your best
The
grandchild,
best person.
the best person.
It's so awful. And yeah, so they're all kind of going around talking about their stuff, and so Jeremy wants his wife and he wants to go home. Like if he can get those things, he's fucking solid, right? Alistair's like, fuck this town, like it's garbage. I don't want it. Like it's not worth it. Um Johannes is like, hey, I'm gonna create that really great amusement park for others. And once this house isn't here, there's like, less demonic energy, so we won't get like super scary others, and I can even like give y'all a tiny piece of power, and it's gonna be so great. And Rose is like, I have these fucking lawyers hounding me, and it'd be really cool if they would stop. I also love that the lawyers are like ultimately the worst pieces of shit in this universe, and it's really fun as a lawyer that it's like the lawyers are um, yeah. Um, and yeah, Rose is like, they just want the Thorburn line to keep going, which is another hint as to the ultimate. deal here or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, so at one point, you know, Blake's freaking out and Rose is like, "Trust me." And Blake's like, "Ooh, like we used to be the same person. Like is she trying to get through to me just like I'm trying to get through to her? And like what's going on? And like what's up?" And Johannes is like, "There's no rush." And then I'm like, "But isn't everyone going to wake up?" And like he also proceeds to like be antsy and tell them to hurry up throughout this whole thing. Although I guess he just doesn't want them to talk them out of it. Um, and then there's also this moment where, do you want me to be nitpicky, Jenny?
Hey, whatever your heart is telling you.
Yeah, so just, Johannes says, like, you can think of this as, like, my offer of a plea bargain, and, like, he's incorrect. A plea bargain is something that you use in a, criminal context,
Hmm.
um, because you plea guilty or not guilty. Um, the state, like you're guilty of crimes, right? Like, and only the state can prosecute people for crimes. This would be something more like a settlement offer, because like
Hmm.
this is a civil situation between individuals or other parties that aren't the state. And
Okay.
even the state can be involved in suing people. So, like, literally just, like, not crimes.
Okay.
Because like, you're not the state, Johannes. Like, go away.
I mean, but he feels like he's the state.
I guess he is potentially about to be lord of this area, so yay.
Yay. Okay, no, that's interesting. It's good to know.
So
Well, Blake starts to put Grandma Rose's scheme together and realizes who the real villain is.
so Blake is really brainstorming about Grandma Rose, and he's like, I really gotta fucking figure this out. Like, Rose probably knows because she read the goddamn diaries and she told me not to read them, and I'm gonna fucking figure this out. Okay, what does she want? Right? Like, she swore not to awaken her children, and she's a crotchety old asshole, and maybe she made a mistake and a bunch of people like got hurt because of it. But also, why the fuck did she put us in this order? And like why did she cut us in half? And like what is going on, right? Um like she fucked over Molly and then she cut us in half and then Paige who like probably would have done a great job or whatever, like she spurns her cuz she's like not going to have a daughter for the family. And like what's up with that? Um and so he's trying to think about stuff. He's making eye contact with Rose. He's really thinking. He's like, what is Rose trying to tell me? What am I trying to tell Rose? Um, and assumptions are dangerous. And we've just learned here that angels and demons can work together. So maybe lawyers can be at odds with one another. Um, and so, sort of been thinking that grandma and the lawyers have been working together, but maybe grandma's trying to subvert the lawyers. And but not in a way that pisses them off and makes them rain hellfire on us or whatever the fuck. Like Blake is kind of realizing that the lawyers are the reason that there is one heir and that all of the karmic load gets set onto one person's shoulders. And that's so that someone might take their deal in the Thorburn line and allow the demons and evil to gain a greater foothold. And I guess I'm like Ms. Lewis doesn't seem evil. Um and I'm trying to remember if it's like if they get someone to sign on, are they free or something? Like why are they working to further the interests of demons? Like they must, like, are they trapped? Are they just like complete shitbags? Not
Maybe
sure.
both.
Maybe both. But yeah, so Blake is like putting together these pieces, right? Like Grandma Rose went against everything she stood for and worked with a demon. And Grandma Rose swore to never awaken her children. And she like put us in this weird order and didn't talk to us about the practice and like just kind of fucked us over and like all this stuff. And like the debt, right? Like this horrible debt that we have to deal with. And he's like, bankruptcy. We declare bankruptcy. Except you can't because bankruptcy is like a fairly new concept, and a lot of places don't even have like as developed of bankruptcy systems. The US is kind of like the pioneer in the field of bankruptcy, and um has made this really amazing system that helps people not be completely crushed by their debt. But these lawyers want you to be completely crushed by your debt, right? So they need to kill off this line such that there is no I guess such that the um inheritance escheats to the state and no one can pay off these debts. I'm not sure what happens if, like, I mean, at some point your creditors are just fucked
Yeah.
because there's nothing there. Um and I guess that in this system, like, yeah, they need an heir to attach the karma to. I'm not sure what happens if this karma just like floats off into nothingness. But that's not their problem, I guess. So Blake is like, Rose, I get it. And Rose is like, really? And, Blake asks, what gender is Catherine's child? Male. Like immediately Rose is like, oh fuck, you're getting it. And Johannes is like, what the fuck? Like, shut up. And Rose is like, oh, I need to talk to my fiance. Bye. And right, so then, Blake puts together the pieces that Grandma Rose is trying to end the Thorburn line without making it look like she's trying to end the Thorburn line. She is setting their family up for failure, such that there is no one to pass the karmic debt onto because it has to go to a daughter because reasons. Sorry, Molly, you had to die, but you probably weren't going to use the demons, so that was useful. Sorry, Ambrose, you are the best hope, I suppose. But also, it seems like Blake figures that Rose is infertile. Part of the splitting of Barbatorum is that maybe Blake was given the fertility, and not Rose. That, Catherine has a boy who wouldn't be an heir, but also she'd probably fuck up and get herself killed, and then Ellie would fuck up and get herself killed, and maybe even set themselves up in a situation where they'd attack Laird, which maybe makes sense as to why he was being kind of an antagonistic dickbag to Blake, because Laird probably had the tools to rebuff the demon back. And so on and so forth down the line until you get to Paige, who, again, it's not clear if adopted children count in this universe, but probably won't have biological children unless, she uses a sperm donor or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that her Paige is the last line of defense in her lesbianness. And, Grandma Rose has, like, it seems like Rose has decided that their grandmother is right. Grandma Rose has decided that this is worth destroying her family and working with demons because it saves, generations of future Thorburns.
Yeah.
And also, like, prevents the lawyers from potentially gaining a greater foothold through their family. And this seems, like a laudable goal. So Rose and Alistair come back, and Rose is like, yeah, we were just talking about, like, tablecloths and bullshit. And, Rose says, Blake convinced me that we're, aligned. And Blake's response is to be like, yeah, so, we're all really fucked because we're all really tied to this town and this house has such powerful connections to this place that when it gets sucked down into the abyss, like, we're all gonna get dragged down with it. Hey, Jeremy, your wife, she's one of those people. You might be one of those people based on that. Like, it's great. We're all fucked. And then Johannes is like, I didn't know, I swear. Like, I just want the relationship between other and man to be better, like how Solomon wanted it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I guess, like, I mean, the seal served a lot of cool, useful purposes in terms of protecting people, but I think it protected literally people, like humans,
Yeah.
and not anyone else. So that feels like bullshit, but it's fine. And Johannes is like, I believe the world is better with magic in it, and I think that's cool. But also you live in a scary horrorville with, like, little children who are being ripped apart by trolls or whatever, and that sucks.
Apparently that's how he likes it.
Yeah. At least he wants like the demon house to go away so that the demons don't show up. That's nice. You know, he has a line. um, but then speak of the angel.
Faisal arrives and is a real asshole.
I really wanted Jenny to say speak of the angel, and she was like, it sounds like you really want to say it. And I was like, yay.
Yeah, I feel like you had the right amount of enthusiasm.
It's just so funny. Okay. He really sucks. And he shows up, you know, right when everyone's like, oh, okay, this would be a bad idea. And he's like, well, since you've foiled, you know, like, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. So I guess we're doing this the hard way. He's like, I want all of you to be horribly tortured by a demon forever. Because eventually, like, you know, Barbie gets to have some fun, you know, gets to let his hair down, gets to really like go all out, and you know, that'll destroy the binding connection or whatever, because he'll destroy all the Thorburns, and then eventually I can uh make him be bound better in the abyss because whatever. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um
It's great.
I think we knew that Faisal was a demon or a demon. Faisal was an angel of the seventh choir, which presumably tracks to the day of rest.
Mm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and so you know, the seventh choir angels are abstract, but like as rest angels, they can't win direct confrontations. I'm not sure if the choirs correspond to strength. Like maybe a top tier demon of the first choir is stronger than a top tier demon of the second choir.
Mm-hmm.
But we could see that Barbatorum seems to be stronger than Or. But yeah. And so he's like, that would have just been like so much neater, and you all like would have been slowly fucked, and that would have been so great, but oh well. Most of you are here anyway, so let's just get started.
Let's get started.
Holy shit. And then we get like awesome horror, like just bad times.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Life in plastic. It's fantastic.
Smell of burning hair. Putrid meat everywhere.
Where imagination. Your destruction is my temptation.
Might need to work
Come
on
on,
that.
Barbie, let's go party. Yeah. Oh no, I really want someone to write that.
Okay.
Apparently Hasbro really hates that song, and the worst thing about the upcoming Barbie movie, as far as I know, is I'm pretty sure that song won't be in it, which seems like a fucking crime. But I'm excited nevertheless.
You know, I feel like Hasbro also makes Ouija boards, so I feel
Huh.
like they just can't be bothered by that shit, you know? I
Bisexualizing
mean, I know it's not
their
really related, but at the same time, I'm just like, you guys can't
dolls.
be offended by like fucking Barbie girl song if you make Ouija boards.
They gotta. It's about brand integrity, and Barbie as a brand is very different from Ouija as a brand.
True.
But yeah, so Faisal's like, haha, peace.
Can you imagine if they
and
combined
what?
Barbie? If they made like a Barbie themed Ouija board?
Oh my god, it'd be like bright pink with like white font, and
With like the, yeah.
I feel like instead of like, isn't it an eye or something on it? Like I feel like instead of that it'd be like her face or like the bee. Be so good. Oh, I bet the thing that you like put your hands on or whatever would be like a clear like acrylic, but then there'd be like silver glitter in it.
Oh, there would definitely be glitter in it.
Yeah.
For sure. For
Pretty
sure.
cool.
Be a lot of pink. Oh my gosh. Someone made a mini Barbie Ouija board on Etsy. I'm not even kidding right now. Let me just send this to you. I didn't even Google Barbie Ouija board. I was just looking at Ouija boards. Okay. Look at this. This is amazing, Malia.
Totally yes, totally no. Bye for now. Oh my god.
It's so good, guys. Has some
It's really
stars on
cute.
it. It's
Mhm,
pink.
mhm.
It's really good. Oh my gosh, and they have a Ken Ouija board. I mean, the Barbie one's the best, but the Barbie one's the best anyway, but wow. Okay, well, shoot. Good, there goes our Etsy idea. Guess someone already came up with a Barbie Ouija board, so whatever. Man, there's apparently a
It's
bunch of different types of Ouija boards out there. There's a cat one, just really random. There's
and and the best thing about it, I don't know if you realize this, is that it's Barbie size. Did you see
oh
that? It's
no.
so good.
It's
Yeah,
Barbie size
it's
Ouija
Barbie
board.
size.
Barbie size and Barbie themed Ouija board. Oh my goodness. You guys. That's the best. That's really funny. What the fuck? Ah. So if you're playing dolls and you have that and it actually does start moving on its own, then I don't know. You gotta I don't
Just
know what that
leave.
means, but
Like,
it's
burn
not
it
a
all
good thing.
down. Say
Burn it all
goodbye.
down. It's not good. Wow. I feel like we're gonna have to that's just amazing. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Um, so the house, like, starts to sink and maybe gets, like, flipped over. I was a little confused. And then you start to smell the burning hair and the putrid meat, and people are throwing up in their mouths. People are running. The house is collapsing. Um, Rose is channeling conquest, telling people to hide anything reflective, anything metal. Um, and I'm like, why did y'all have to have this conversation inside this house? Like, I guess, you know, you didn't know. And yeah. Um and so then the house is like warps and distorts. There's bookshelves on every wall, and there's like the books are being like the spines are being written on, and the water is like doing gross shit and unclear. And so then there's a sky above them, which is enough to let them know that it's snowing, which means the time effect is gone, which I guess maybe means that all the normies are gonna wake up and run away. I don't know if it's just gone like over their house or what, but um, they seem to be falling into the abyss. They're like 120 feet down or whatever, and they start to hear the bell again because I guess Molly was also asleep or something during this time. So Molly's pissed. She's back with a vengeance. Burgeoning goddess or whatever. I wonder if Faisal's like maybe she'll be useful. And you know, who just loves that angry rage vibes is Boogeymen, and they're
Woo!
coming.
Sweet.
And Barbatorum's coming, and it's all great. Um, and then Blake describes one snowflake that didn't move because it was Faisal, and Johannes looks pretty sad. And uh, and then at the end he says that I think Faisal says stay, which feels like ultimate dog revenge.
Ultimate dog revenge.
Um, like this whole time he's like, "Don't ask me if I like walks." Um, and now he's like, "Stay, bitch." And that sucks.
Yeah. It sucks, man. It sucks. Well, we're at our panel comparison section now. So
Yay. I was trying to think of what this feels like in Pale, and I guess it feels like summer break. Like it feels like we're all fucked. We know who the bad guy is. It doesn't feel like we've definitely lost though. But we're definitely not doing good. I don't know. Did it remind you of anything, Jenny?
I guess I could see the summer break vibes in a sense, as in like things are just going to shit,
Yeah.
you know? But
Blade.
I'm not gonna lie, my energy drink's wearing off, so I can't come up with a very good comparison at the
No, that's fair. Um, or just maybe some of the like I can't put my finger on anything, but just like this, we get a lot of answers in these chapters. We also get a lot of like drama and hype and action, and I'm trying to think like when in Pale did we just finally get a bunch of answers? Like I feel like in a way, Pact has had more of the like mystery structure than even Pale did, in the sense that the conspirators in Pale are doled out really like kind of slowly. Like you learn about Edith, like, and it's not necessarily a huge oh fuck like shock in the way that this is just like what.
Mhm.
um and that's kind of interesting that like yeah, like, you see Edith at the cabin, and I don't even remember the moments where everyone was definitely identified. I mean, like, that Marissa, like, blinded the Carmine Beast right before she died in, like, or, like, in, like, Arc 2 or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
and, you're sus of Matthew, you're sus of, like, everyone, but it's not like, this feels like, Hercule Poirot sitting in a room with all the all the suspects being like, "Let me tell you who it is." Um, and we didn't really get that in Pale from what I can remember, but it has been a very long time since I've read those arcs.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
But yeah, this was great. These were great, and I'm excited.
All right, sweet. Time for your bold and specific prediction, Malia. What's it gonna be?
So I like to predict who the interlude will be from, um, right before we get to it, and so I really need this to be a Johannes interlude. I really, really need it to be Johannes. um, I also want more of like Grandma Rose's diaries or whatever. Like I want like other shit, but like I need it to be Johannes. Like we have another 2 arcs for me to get like Grandma Rose shit, and this is just, like the perfect moment to come in and feel sad about this betrayal.
So you think it's either Johannes or maybe Grandma Rose's diaries?
I'm not sure if we're gonna get a double up on our diaries actually, because I feel like Wildbow doesn't like to repeat interlude points of view. So it
Okay.
might be like Johannes, or like I want a Rose interlude. I'm not sure if this is the time. I mean, it may be like a face all interlude, but I don't even care. I want you. I don't know.
All
One
right.
day it will be right, and or
Or it won't.
Wildbow needs to write a fucking Johannes.
Well, we will see. We will see what it is next
We will
week.
see.
All right. Our previous discussion question from last week is name a place that doesn't sound like a good travel destination, but is. So we got a couple answers. So we'll start with Beleg Tall. It said Ottawa. We kind of have a reputation as the city that fun forgot. That's funny. But Ottawa is actually a really nice city. We have lots of interesting historic sites, good food, great museums, beautiful parks, festivals, and even the occasional Wildbow fan meetup.
Woo. Um, Anzin on Discord says it might not be the most beautiful place you can visit. It certainly is far away from living up to its rather infamous name. But here in Norway, there is a small town straight up called Hell.
It's pretty
That's
funny.
fun.
That's pretty fun. And then Jarl Zarl so on Discord said, not really a discussion question and answer, but kind of related. Their family used to go to this little small town in northern lower peninsula of Michigan, and they'd rent a cottage for a week every summer. Town's right on Lake Michigan. It's a lot of really good walking spots, bike riding spots, nice library, cute shops. But about 15 years ago or so, a magazine listed it in like a top 10 best undiscovered vacation spots in the US, and they got super touristy and they stopped going as often.
Oh.
And so they haven't been in the past like 5 years or so. Moral of the story, if you have a really nice undiscovered vacation spot, be careful about who you tell about it.
I think that's really wise.
That's very wise. Yeah.
Yep.
There's like in Hawaii, I mean, obviously Hawaii is not like, a secret vacation spot or anything, but like there's these travel books. I don't even know if I should say the name of it, but like there are these travel books for Hawaii. That have like a different one for each island, where like the guy basically that wrote them basically went and lived in Hawaii for a good amount of time, found out all the local spots, and like kind of got to know the local people, and like ended up just exposing all of them in the book. And so all the good local spots like have been much more crowded since
Mhm.
those were published. Just like, well, I guess touche, but but it sucks.
Yeah. But also I bought the Hawaii one for our honeymoon. I haven't actually looked at it. I should do that.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Yeah.
good resources, and I'm not going to give the name, so sorry. It's being a dick move. But there's a lot of good like Hawaii books and
Yeah.
stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a discussion question because my brain is dead.
I was thinking, like, what's your favorite enemies to lovers story?
All right.
All
Favorite
right, what's your
enemies?
favorite enemies to lovers story? Or what do you love about this trope? Mine is Pride and Prejudice. I
That's a
don't
good one.
know. Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet.
Is yours the Christmas wedding planner?
Oh, good lord. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. That does fit. I don't know if I'd say my favorite. It's a terrible story, terrible movie, but I'll go with it. Christmas
Yay!
Wedding Planner. So bad. So fucking bad. But man, I love it. Love to hate it.
Yeah. In honor of Faye and Barbie, tell us your favorite enemies to lovers story.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a rating and review. To support our podcast, go to patreon.com/doofmedia. And if you'd like to support Wildbow as he continues to write fantastic stories, go to patreon.com/wildbow.
You can follow the pod on Twitter at Pale Comparison or send us an email at paleincomparisonpod@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for our Reddit thread in r/parahumans where you can answer a discussion question and share your thoughts on this episode. In addition, if you would like to see all of my predictions laid out, check out our episode description for a link to a prediction tracker. Next episode, we will be covering chapter 14.x.
All right, this week's fun fact. Lysol was originally marketed as a contraceptive. It was corrosive to sperm, but also damaged like vaginal tissue. Its ad said using it as a douche would lead to marital bliss.
What
Hundreds of people died from
What
using Lysol as a
the
douche.
fuck?
Yeah. So don't use Lysol as a douche.
You're also just not supposed to douche, right?
You're not supposed to douche. No. But like,
That's so fucked up.
you know, people for many, many years have made a lot of money telling women their bodies are disgusting. So,
Yeah,
don't douche. Don't douche.
that's awful.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible. This is very off the topic, but you want to know something else that's fucking terrible? Not as terrible as that by any means. But
Okay.
so this is really not on the same topic, but I just want to show you. Get your so Vitalis and I took the kids to a thrift store just to buy some clothes because there's a lot of kids' clothes for cheap that are pretty decent quality at thrift stores. And he found this fucking toy that he gave to Miko.
Uh-oh.
And Miko loved it, but he just
No!
like wanted to keep it. And now Lily's playing with it. And I'm going to show you how fucking terrible this is. And we'll just look at this shit.
Is that like a really big spider?
Yes.
That's so fucked up!
Lily's just so happy.
Johnny's afraid of spiders.
I hate spiders. And look, she's like,
Oh my god.
rawr. She's playing with the spider. With a big fucking spider. It's bigger than my head. I hate it.
That's
I hate
so
it
mean.
so
I'm
much.
so sorry.
I hate it. She's just like fucking loves that thing. There's a picture of her just looking like, what is this? And then like here, sorry, just one more video that's not that exciting, but
Oh my god. It's so creepy.
yeah, it's just this giant spider that she's just playing like it's some fucking stuffed animal. And it's this big plastic Halloween decoration spider that she's just like, rawr, rawr, rawr. And like, yeah.
At least it'll be a good video to show her when she is like a teenager.
I mean, it's pretty funny, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. Like, I never would have thought that they would actually like want to play with that. Anyway, yeah. So I wanted to show you that. Anyway,
That was fun.
that's our podcast. This has been a wild ride, and join us next week for another ride, probably down memory lane, and with Johannes. You never know, might be. Man, Malia, I feel like we could just make a soundboard of like your noises
Me?
that you make, and just like you're like every time I'm like, what do you think of these chapters? Yeah, I mean that or yeah, just make a lot of good noises. Not saying, I mean, I think it's bad. I think it's a good thing. It adds to the charm
I
of the
try.
podcast. But anyway, all right. Good night, guys. See you later.